Good afternoon, and welcome to Cosmic Complexity. Well, there's a few things I want to talk about really quickly.
Okay.
At the start of the video, Trent, I think you owe everybody an apology.
An apology?
Yeah, it's just you kind of messed up.
I messed up.
Well, yeah, last episode you just
With the mic?
Yeah, with the mic. I think you need to.
Okay.
I think you owe everyone an apology.
All right. I would just like to apologize for holding my mic too far away from my mouth last episode. Apparently I screwed up.
Yeah.
So it won't happen again. And yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you should be sorry. I mean, it was your first time.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Oh, you're kidding
sorry,
about
sorry about
apologizing?
No, I was being sarcastic.
You're saying you were
So
joking.
I'm sorry about the mic. So
Genuinely. Yeah,
I'll do better this time.
You gotta understand the severity of the consequences of what you did.
What are the consequences?
Like nobody
What are you
watched
gonna-
the video.
What are you gonna do to me?
It only got like 32 views, which is pretty good.
32 views.
Pretty good. Hey, thank you guys.
So you're saying that we got 32 views with me holding the mic away from my mouth?
Yeah, and if
So
you'd
we'll
actually
probably
held
get
it
like
right,
60 views if I
at
hold it to
least.
my mouth.
Before we get into our topic today, last week I mentioned we were going to start reading comments. I do have a comment. I'm going to read it out really quickly. This one's a long one. This was 3 months ago. This was on the episode that got the most views. This is my favorite comment from the video, so I'm going to read it. This is from @DanHarkins JK9MI. Great name. He goes by D, it appears, and he said, first comment is a 48-year-old atheist lefty from Massachusetts. Haha, anyway, but your fourth episode came up on my queue for some reason, and I was going to just zip past it. Then I said to myself, hey, I'll give it a listen, and if it's terrible, then at least it'll be funny, right? But guess what? Not funny. That's a good thing. You two might have started off the show a little clunky, but you get into your rhythm real fast. You're a good host, Grayson. You move it along at just the right pace, and you guys didn't step on each other at all. Trent is a good color man, too. What? Quality chemistry for such young amateurs. You hit your stride. You take my meaning, and you definitely fix the audio sounds good. Regarding your actual content, I'm a dyed-in-the-wool New England skeptic. No demons, no Nessie, no Bigfoots. I'm gonna believe, or Big Feet. Nope. Oh, this one, he goes all over the place. Don't worry, I'll edit this.
Oh, that wasn't close. That was right on the money. That was right on the money.
Oh my god! I can't edit that out. I gotta leave it.
Yeah, that was good.
Oh, holy shit! No demons, no Nessie, no Bigfoot, Big Feet. I'm gonna believe in something. You just gotta see it. At least if we're talking empirical science. And when I say, I mean we as people. I've never seen Pluto, but I believe it exists. Get me? I do get him. You get him, Trent. Almost there. So we're around the part where you're talking about how you believe demons are real. I don't agree. But instead of going off on a crazy, you're a religious nut kid tangent, I just want to talk to you like we'd meet in real life, like two people, and it's going to sound nuts. But, well, I go to a Bible study every Friday night from 7 to 8, and I'd like to tell you why and how I ended up there, because you guys sound like smart and reasonable people. Mermaids are real and will destroy us all. Sorry, that's a whole other thing. Cry your pardon. Anyway, it's 3:15 a.m., and I have to get some sleep. But I'm going to listen to your other shows and fill you in on why I think it just happened to find your show out of so many shows. Good work, you two. Keep it up. D. For Dan. Dan, if you're watching this, you're the first comment we chose because that's genuinely a beautiful and sweet comment. I read that, I think, one of the mornings a couple of months ago, and it put a big smile. It put a big old smile on my face. And we do appreciate comments like that. It's really cool hearing your opinions and what you believe and what you think. And just the fact that you randomly came across our podcast is insane because it is awesome. Very, very small. So truly, you keep it up as well. We appreciate you and we love you. Sorry, it was a little all over the place when I grabbed your penis there. I'm sorry.
You know, that's okay.
I'm sorry.
Hey, I forgive you. I forgive you.
We're just going to move on.
Yeah, let's just pretend that didn't happen and move on with our lives. And then no. What
do you mean, though? You don't want to move on?
I mean, you were the one that suggested moving on. I'm not.
do you want to revel on it? What are we doing here?
No. I'm saying let's move on.
All right, we're gonna move on. So, thanks, Dan. We love you.
Yep.
Okay, so this week we're gonna be talking about dimensions. We did talk about multiverses a few episodes back. That's not what we're talking about. I do have a reason for this episode. It's not a repeating episode. Trent, here's what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's memes and stuff of people saying canon events or things that must happen in our lifetime. Like in 2016, Harambe died and everything went to shit after that, right? That is the kind of belief people say that like something happens, somebody dies, some big thing happens, and we jump a timeline or we change dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
So the current one that I've seen a lot, and I've seen it twice now, and it's just very interesting to me, and I was thinking about it today earlier while I was driving. When Donald Trump had the assassination attempt, and he got shot in the ear, and then he stood up and was like, rah! Every single person on TikTok for like a few weeks, I saw this, and I don't know how I got onto the side of TikTok, but it was multiple people who were saying that we shifted dimensions, and that there was a huge energy shift, which is basically proof that we jumped into a new timeline. And it was the fact that Trump was supposed to get shot, and he didn't get shot, and so we're on the good timeline.
Yeah,
but there's another group of people who are on the bad timeline where Trump did get shot. And these aren't like Trump supporters going crazy. This is like genuine people. Like I think the video I saw with this guy, he was in the woods, just walking, and he was like a weird shaman energy to him, and was just like the energies have shifted. This was a change in energy.
Yeah,
and the same thing happened over the past week. For those listening, this is a few weeks ahead, but when we shot this, Trump was just elected as our 47th president of the United States. And a lot of people were saying that when he won the election, that was another shift in energy and timeline, and we've entered a new dimension where Trump is our president.
Is it just back and forth into the good and bad dimension?
I don't know. I don't know what they fully rely on, but I was curious to see just what you thought of that, and we can kind of just play around with the idea of alternate dimensions and stuff like that. So just with those first two examples of Trump being a main, I guess, deity in this idea that Trump is just. What do you think? Do you think that's true? Have you noticed a change in energy?
No, I haven't noticed anything, but I mean, I think it's interesting. It's kind of that's a fun thing to think about. Like in that one event, I mean, it's like the whole thing is like a single flap of the butterfly's wing can change everything.
Yeah,
this whole thing with Back to the Future, which since Endgame has been debunked, but
yeah.
But I mean, it's still kind of fun to think about.
Do you think that whenever Trump didn't get assassinated, that was like a clear universal cosmic interaction, like intention?
I mean,
because some people said that God had his hand on Trump,
right? Well,
it was close.
Okay.
It was close.
I think that God is like absolutely sovereign over everything, and like when I say sovereign, I mean like completely in control. So like every R.C. Sproul has like a quote where he says that there's not a maverick molecule in the universe. So in other words, like every molecule is like constantly being controlled by God. So I think that God, if God wanted to, he would have let the bullet hit Trump, and if he didn't want that to happen, so he prevented it. So yeah, and that, but I don't think that Trump is like God's anointed, like president, and that
I don't know what
God,
you're talking about.
Send his angels down to.
I think Trump is God's anointed president.
Well, yeah, he is, but I don't think that
take us into
I don't think
that
Trump is the Messiah.
He's going to save all of us from.
I do think that God has Trump in the White House. Well, not right now, but
the evil. He's saving us from the evil that is Biden. He's going the Harris administration.
He's going to.
Trump is going to. He's going to take us back. He's going to take America back.
He's going to get assassinated, and 3 days later, he's going. No, I'm just kidding.
Whoa!
I don't believe that.
That is blasphemous.
I don't believe that.
That is ridiculous.
I was making a joke about people who probably do believe that.
I cannot believe you made. Okay, all right.
anyways.
So let's take God out of the idea just to play with it, you know. Let's try to think about it. Do you think it's possible? God outside of the equation. Have you ever thought about dimensions being a possible thing where we could be jumping back and forth from timelines?
I mean,
even with God in the equation, do you think it's possible? Because we've mentioned a couple of times, like, is God an interdimensional being? And we can talk about that later in this episode, because I'm sure we're not going to be stuck on this topic for an hour. But just for now,
well,
do you think that is a possibility, even remotely?
First off, I mean, I kind of did this exact same thing whenever in the last Dimensions video or podcast, I think. But you know, if you take God out of the equation, whatever you want is possible. I mean, you know, it doesn't really matter at that point. But so, anyways, to go along with your
hypothetically,
I mean, I think that, I guess if I wasn't a Christian, then yeah, I'd probably be inclined to believe that. I think that does seem interesting to me. Like,
so there's the Trump one. There's Harambe. Can you think of any other things that might have shifted? Because it could be good things and bad things. It's things that have happened where, like 9/11. You think 9/11?
That did come to mind.
That's a dimensional shift.
Maybe. I mean, it did change the way we get on airplanes.
Yeah, so. Yeah, that was a good change.
So apparently, I didn't know this before 9/11. You could walk a person you were taking to the airport all the way up to their gate. Like, there was no security. Like, that's crazy. I can't even imagine.
Well, obviously, yeah. I mean, that's how it happened.
It's just crazy.
Those guys walked up into the pilot.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, that's insane. With
no security. It is crazy. But okay, so 9/11 was one of them. I'm trying to think. Can you think of any other like situations or things?
I'm trying to think of
JFK.
You got assassinations and stuff like that.
Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah. I mean, maybe like, remember when they killed Osama bin Laden?
Oh, Osama bin Laden.
Maybe that was one.
But I mean, that's so much death. Is it just people dying? Is that the only way that we can shift?
But if you think about it, those are pretty major turning points in history. You know,
true.
Like, I mean,
a shift in energy.
JFK's assassination is still talked about today. You know, and
I was talking about it this morning.
You really? Interesting. But yeah, I mean, it's still like this thing that people debate and talk about, like how it happened and what happened. So I think that it's just because it's not necessarily because it's people dying. It's just a major shift in history, you know?
Yeah, I'm always kind of fascinated by like multiverses and interdimensional travel and just like things like that, and theories behind it are always really curious to me. And it always feels like science fiction where a scientist is just like, hypothetically, this could happen. It's like, okay, but do we have any proof of that? Some say there is proof, some say there isn't proof. I mean, energy shifting, I can feel that, but I don't know if that's like, I don't know if that's a natural just feeling. Like, I think it just might be like people,
I think it's pretty subjective.
Yeah, like I think it's just the way you wake up. Like if you were feeling like, if you wanted Trump to win, your energy when you woke up that day was probably a lot better than, say, someone who wanted Harris to win. And I feel like that could be taken as like a shift in the timeline or whatever, where it's like, oh, well, I feel like the energy is completely different. It's like, well,
yeah.
Or maybe you just feel better.
Yeah.
Or worse, depending on who you are.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, one thing that I did find interesting, and there was a point that this guy was making on TikTok, and I don't have the source. It was just scrolling and it just popped in my head. But it was the sound that the world makes. There's like an active noise that's just happening. And when Trump was elected, that there was like a major spike in that sound.
That's interesting.
And people, or energy or something. And so people are saying that is us traveling to a new dimension.
Yeah.
Was that shift in sound.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's an interesting theory. Yeah, you said it is like very curious and very fascinating. But,
yeah.
I don't know. I just think that as like if you put God back in the equation, it's like that just is like doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense at all.
Because like you can clearly see that God has a plan, past, present, future.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that like he orchestrates things, and that like at the right time things happen, and you know, so the Bible's very clear about that, and so I think that with that in mind, it doesn't, like me personally, that doesn't make sense to me for that to happen, or for there to be multiple dimensions. Like, but I mean, if you think about it, it does make sense how we come to the conclusion of like, oh, there must be multiverses, because like one small change, like one small decision change, could affect a lot of different things. Like, I mean, let's take JFK's assassination. Like, if he didn't get assassinated, imagine how different the world. I mean, I'm not saying because he's a great president or whatever. I mean, I'm not saying anything about that. I just like that was a major change in American history, you know.
It was. It definitely shifted how just people and presidents and how they interact with people, and I think there's a lot of changes to security because of JFK.
Yeah,
I think even taking God out of the equation, I think it's pretty silly. It's a little odd to me because it's like, okay, well, maybe there's an energy shift, but that could really be anything. There's no way of us knowing that that's a shift in dimensions. And some people say like the Mandela effect is proof of us going back and forth from dimensions. Like some people said, there's some new ones recently where someone's dead. We didn't know he was dead, or someone's wearing a headband. We don't remember him having a headband. There's the cornucopia in Fruit of the Loom. There's Bugs Bunny or something. There's
Wait, is there not a cornucopia in Fruit of the Loom?
No.
Yes, there is.
No, there's not. There's not a cornucopia.
I could have sworn there's
not a cornucopia.
Man, the Mandela effect is kind of weird. That is, I mean,
that's some people say the Mandela effect is proof of, which like Looney Tunes.
Yeah. What about
Fruit Loops? How are Fruit Loops spelled?
Fruit Loops?
Fruit Loops.
Isn't it just like the way you spell fruit and then LOOPS?
You don't think it's FROOT?
No.
Loops? Fruit Loops? It is fruit, which is FRUIT.
Yeah.
And then loops with two O's. Loops.
Yeah.
You know. But I remember Fruit Loops being two O's, like Fruit Loops. And that's not how it was spelled. And then there's Looney Tunes. I remember Looney Tunes being TOON.
Yeah, I remember that too.
TUNE. It's not. It's like tunes, like music.
Like cartoons. I see, and I thought it was TOO.
I think it is.
NS. Like
See,
cartoons.
some of them are so confusing that I genuinely don't know which one's right, because I'm like, which some people just say that's just our brain and how we remember things.
Right, yeah.
Which I don't know.
And then like some people think that like deja vu is
Berenstein Bears.
Is like has something to do with that, right?
Yeah, I was gonna go into that as well. I think there's dreams. Dreams could be perceived as like us jumping dimensions. So like, for instance, I had a dream 2 days ago. And I was in this house. I'm gonna share the whole dream here.
Okay.
Because it's pretty interesting. I was in this house, and it was like a mansion, and I was with a group of people that I don't know, and we're all hanging out in this mansion, and there's a virus being spread, and the virus it's like a zombie virus, but it's also like Planet of the Apes virus, so it's like a hybrid virus thing where if you get bit, you turn into a monkey, but it's like a human monkey thing, like the Planet of the Apes monkeys in the old ones, not the old ones, but the one that came out right before the newest series where they look really weird.
Yeah,
that's the one. And all these people were getting bit, and I was stuck in this mansion for several days with these random people. All these apes tried to get into the house. It was terrifying. It was horrible. Yeah. But there's what if that's just another dimension?
You just had a look into that dimension.
Jumped consciousness into that dimension.
Isn't that the MCU thing? Like
yeah, that's what Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
Doctor Strange said or some shit.
I mean, again, that is interesting. It's kind of fun to think about. But like,
do you think it's true?
No.
Do you think there's a dimension out there where I'm trying to survive? A zombie ape virus?
No, I don't think so. I mean, yeah, no.
I think it's not.
It's okay. Here, I'm not saying that it's impossible for that to happen. Like, I think that God could have created a world like that, obviously, but like that's not the world He created. So this, like, we're living in the world He created. So.
What if we got up to heaven, and there are multiple versions of ourselves from these dimensions?
That'd be crazy.
Where it's like, what is that?
Do you think that
this is Amish Grayson?
Do you think that, like, you know, I mean, we're pretty good friends. Do you think that when we go to heaven, it's just going to be me and you, but from multiple different dimensions, just for the rest of eternity, just chilling, goofing around?
Like there's armies of us?
Yeah, just like a giant
friends.
army of me and you. And
I don't think I could spend any time with myself.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, this is a ridiculous hypothetical. If we got to heaven and there are multiple versions of ourselves from these dimensions, which is this is a ridiculous hypothetical, I don't think I'd enjoy spending time with myself.
Yeah, but well, see, you'd be spending time with me, like all the infinite different me's, and then I'd be spending time with the infinite different you's, you know.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That's all we talk to.
That's it.
We don't.
I get to go. I don't know. Hang out with Amish Grace and see how he lives his life.
A lot less technology.
Yeah. Do you think he like has an Amish talk show? Like
he just talks in the woods.
He just gets a little little wooden chair and a little bench, and he just
sits on a log.
Yeah.
His co-host is a frog named Trent, which is Frog Trent, which is also
Frog
up there.
Yep.
Frog Trent's really cool. He's really nice. Me and him go way back.
I think. Do you think
there's also the theory where, and this is all in the same blanket of dimensional. Just, I think the takeaway for dimensional thinking is whatever you can think of is happening.
Yeah.
And that's the idea that if your brain can think of
it's
it,
infinite.
Yes. Like if your brain can think of something, that's happening. So there is an Amish Grayson now because we made him up, and he's out there now with his friend.
Frog Trent.
Frog Trent. So Amish Grayson and Frog Trent are running a podcast right now where they talk about something. Who knows what an Amish Grayson and a frog would talk about on a podcast, but they're doing it.
Yeah.
And there's a theory that if you can think of it, it's happening, which I find interesting because, you know, I can think of multiple things.
Yeah.
And it's just that now I can just assume that's happening.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
It is kind of fun.
You know?
Well, I mean, it's like that movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty interesting movie. Like, it was like the same exact thing, but they had like hot dogs for fingers, you know?
Hot dogs for fingers?
It was like everything's the same, but...
The rocks?
Yeah.
They were rocks?
The rocks. So, no, it's interesting.
Do you think if I was a rock...
Mm-hmm. Would I still love you?
Would you still love me?
If I was a rock, yeah.
So, you would only love me as a rock if you were a rock?
Yeah.
That's kind of hurtful, honestly. I would love you as a rock.
Would you love me as a rock?
Yeah.
Oh, you just have me sitting in... I mean, I just sit on your desk all day?
Yeah. I would forget which side is your front, which side is your back. And so sometimes I'd have to like jerk off or something, and I'd turn you towards me instead of away from me.
I just have to watch.
and I would be like, "Yeah, he's fine. He's looking away," and you'd be like, "No, wait, wait."
Yeah.
So
see, that's why I wouldn't be friends with you if you were a rock, you know,
because I jack off. You do it too. All right, we all do it. We all do it. All right, and at least I had the courtesy to turn you a direction away from me.
Do you think there's a dimension where we're not talking about this? Or I kind of want to go to that dimension.
There's a dimension where it's just silently sitting and staring at the camera. Yeah, I think that's it. And you know what? There's a dimension where this is wildly famous and people actually watch this show. Which is
Are you talking about this dimension?
Yeah. No.
It will be.
No. But I like that you think that, Trent.
But
I Let me wrap it back around.
Yeah, let's
I'll wrap it back around.
get back on the trail here.
Back to dreams.
Yeah.
So I think there are, the only thing I could say when it comes to dreaming and or dimensions or like something happening where there's a shift in energy, I could personally say that I've experienced something quite like it. And I've told you this story, you know this story, but I'll share it for everybody because I think it's really interesting. I had a dream. And it was, so me and my wife, my now wife, we used to drive a lot. And we just drive at night.
Yeah.
And there's a certain road in where we live, and it's a really tight turn. And it goes on for a really long time. You have to go a certain speed. And I had a dream where me and my wife were driving, and I saw the time. I had a song playing. Like, so I had a time, I had a song, I had my car, and I had a location. So I had multiple things to look at and be like, I remember this, I remember this, I remember this, I remember this. And it was very specific things. And in my dream, when we were taking that turn, there was this blue truck in the left lane. We were in the right lane. And as we were turning, this blue truck lost control, slammed into our side. My car flipped, and my wife died. And I lived. And it was a horrible dream. I woke up like not feeling good. I felt uncomfortable. I didn't like it. I hated it. And it made me antsy about that space and driving down that road. But we were driving 2 weeks later. And it was, I wasn't thinking about it too much, and until I looked at the clock and it was the same time, and I heard the song and it was the same song in the same location. And then I looked in my rearview mirror and there was a blue truck passing us in the left lane.
That's crazy.
And I freaked out.
Yeah.
And I didn't slam on my brakes, but I definitely like slowed way down and let him pass us before we hit the peak of the turn. And like my wife was in the car and she was like, what are you doing? Like, is there something in the road? And I was like, no. And I was freaked out.
Yeah. That's
she
weird.
could tell I was freaked out. She was like, what's going on? And I explained the dream to her, and she was like, that makes me uncomfortable and it's really weird. And I was like, yeah, I didn't like it either. And then we just kept on going. Obviously, my car didn't flip. My wife didn't die. We're fine. But that to me was a really, really weird interaction with just my life and the world.
Yeah, that is weird.
I don't have an explanation for that.
Yeah.
Like, it could have just been luck. It could have been just random.
Yeah.
Or it could have been something. Yeah. Something warning me. I've talked to multiple people about this from like different beliefs, and I've had some people say like that was definitely like a energy warning of somebody or something. Like some people said it was like a shift in like dimensions where I shifted into a new one. So you might not even be my original Trent. You're a new one.
Oh my gosh.
There's a dimension.
Trent 2.0.
There's a dimension where Janie died, and I was in a bad wreck, and we're still friends, but I'm probably a completely different person because I would be without Janie. If Janie wasn't here, I wouldn't. No,
that'd be crazy. No, this is Dimension 1.
You think so?
Yeah, this is Dimension 1.
Do you think we all?
Because I feel it. I feel like it is.
You think we're Gen 1 Grayson and Trent here?
Yeah.
I think so. I think we're the start. You know, I'd like to think that at least.
No, I mean honestly, I don't. I mean, I think that's.
You hold legit. The mic at your mouth, young man.
It's at my chin.
You held it like this when you said it. Say it again. No.
No, I think that's legitimate. Like your dream and like.
So you think some dreams?
No. Well, what were you gonna say?
Do you think some dreams are like actual interactions with life and what could happen?
I think that it's possible for God to like give you that. Well, and we can talk about this is more theological. We can talk about spiritual gifts on one episode if we want to. But kind of the whole debate between spiritual gifts of like, well, are people like in the Bible, the apostles and stuff were able to heal and like and like cast out demons and like speak in tongues and all that kind of stuff. The debate is, well, can people still do that, or was that something that only the apostles in that era of the church was able to do?
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
well, we can definitely.
I do
talk about
think
spiritual gifts again.
Wherever, I think we should, because it's interesting. But I think wherever you land on that, I think that it is possible for God to. I mean, obviously possible, but I do think that God does work through people in that way. Like he may, just impress on your heart that you need to go talk to somebody, or you need to go do this, or like give you some sort of a dream. Like I think that's legitimate, that's genuine. I've heard multiple different stories similar to that of like people who where they were just impressed on by the Holy Spirit to do something. And so.
There's examples in the Bible of dreams being told. Like I was reading through one this morning where it's either Daniel or David.
Daniel was a big one.
Daniel, I think, is
he
the
had a
one
lot of dreams. Oh, and Joseph.
I don't think it was Joseph, because it's the one where it's the king had a dream and then he called him to interpret it, and then he does interpret the dream, and it's like the many nations, and there's like there's the gold, there's the silver, there's the bronze, and then there's like the mixture of like bronze and clay.
Yep.
And it's to represent the greatest nations at the time, and how they crumbled, and how there's the best one, and then that one fell, and then there's a gooder one, or better one, not gooder. There's a better one.
Yeah.
That one fails, and then there's another one after that one, which is not as good as the one before it, and so it shows basically the rapid decline of great nations, and how we went from like peak perfect to worse and worse and worse. And some people have said and like theorized that the dream is still applicable to today, because the clay and bronze feet represent how we're all going to scatter into multiple nations, and those nations are nowhere near as great as they were in the past. And so, like, America is in there somewhere.
Yeah.
The theory is that America is in the Bible through that dream.
Yeah.
Which I don't know about that, but I do think that is proof, at least, that dreams aren't just dreams. That there's more to it.
Yeah.
Than just.
Like. Yeah, I mean, in the Bible, the Lord has like used dreams to tell people things, and to So.
Which it makes me wonder, like, are all dreams like that? Like, do we just need to find someone to interpret our dreams?
Right.
With that spiritual gift? Because imagine if I went to a guy with a spiritual interpreting gift, and I told him about the monkey dream I had, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, oh wow, the apes, and you fear something. You're seeing your future, and you're going to be in a mansion. And there's going to be a new virus. There's going to be people outside, and they want to get into you.
You're going to turn into an ape.
You're going to turn into an ape in the future." I'm sure, like, maybe there is meaning behind it. Or maybe it was just like, maybe I was just stressed. And
there probably is meaning in that it reflects what you've been thinking about in the.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we should do an episode on dreams, because dreams are kind of crazy.
Dreams are.
I have a lot of things I want to say about dreams. Yeah, but I don't want to diverge too much.
I don't know. Because I could say theoretically that whenever I had that dream with me and Janie, that was like me changing my own timeline, and that I shifted. Which, if we're talking timelines, so God has a set, and on a religious perspective, God has a set beginning and end to our line.
Yeah.
He knows exactly what will happen.
Yeah.
And what will be.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, we have free will.
Yeah.
Kind of, technically.
We have agency.
Yes. And depending on who you ask, for us, at least for our example, we believe we have agency.
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible for things to change in that? Like, do you think God sees multiple layers to the timeline where we make decisions? Like if I wanted to move my foot up and down, is there one where I move my left foot instead of my right foot?
Yeah, I mean, I think
Does
that
it matter?
God. I mean, okay, God is all knowing, and I think that He can see all those things. But I think that what's going to happen is set in stone, and like God isn't up there like, you know, trying things out and changing it as He goes. You know, like I mean, I think that it is set in stone, and that like
I think
what will happen is going to happen.
I think where I would fall on it, and this is just how I feel, and that's the only base of it. No, there's no gravity to this. There's no reason for this to be absolute. It's just how I feel, just based on experience. I think that there are some things that are set in stone that will happen that you can change. There are people who will make decisions who won't get better. There are people who will get better. There are people who will live. There are people who will die, and there's no way to really change that. Like say when Trump got shot, I don't think that there was any way for that to work out any differently. Like his head had moved to the exact angle where it would have missed his brain. Just at the time when that kid pulled the trigger, he moved his head. That's crazy close. You know, there are things that have happened in my life where it was so perfect that there's no way there wasn't a difference in that. And I've talked about that, I think, in episode 1 or 2. I was talking about how the house that I'm at now was bought 2 weeks before my house flooded. And when I moved here, it was like a perfect space for me to go instead of a shelter with nothing else in it. Like where I would have ended up if this house had been bought 2 weeks before I moved here. Like just things like that where there's no way it could have been any different. It's too perfect. So I feel like there are some things that do happen in our timeline that God has set in stone. And then there are some things that it could be anything. Like it's not as set in stone. Now I think God knows it's going to happen. Obviously he has to because he's omnipresent, omnipotent. But I don't know.
That's kind of the age-old question. Like, well, if God knows it's going to happen, then can you do anything other than that? You know? So, like, in a sense, it is set in stone. But I mean, I do see what you mean. Like, and well, okay. In light of this, with your whole with your dream, and I think that, God could have, like, okay, let's just say that you had the dream, right? And it was, God gave you that so that you would know what to do in that situation, right? I think that God could have just as easily moved your heart in a way that you decided not to go down that road at that specific time. You know what I mean? Or like had have orchestrated it to where that truck didn't run into y'all or whatever. You know what I mean? But for whatever reason, God chose to give you that experience through that dream.
Super weird.
And it's, we really don't know why God chose to do that.
Maybe it's for this.
Maybe so.
You know?
But God had a reason for doing that. And
change position. Nick, the crisscross applesauce.
Getting a little cozy there.
Yeah, I'm cozy. Keep going.
Anyways, we don't know why God did that. Like that, we don't know. Why God. Outside of what the Bible says, we don't necessarily know why God does some things and doesn't do other things, or lets something happen but not other things happen. Like we just have to trust that He's good and that He knows what's best for the world. So.
It's an interesting concept.
It is, yeah.
It really.
And honestly, I think that a lot of people will try, like a lot of theologians will try to like understand this and be like, no, this is how it is. I think it's like so black and white, but like it's not. Like we don't. Our minds can't fully comprehend this. Like we can't understand how God can be absolutely sovereign over everything. Yet at the same time, we have responsibility for our actions, and like we actively make choices. So like it's something that we can't fully understand, but we have to acknowledge that both things are there in the Bible, and they're both true at the same time. So. It is mind-boggling, though. Yeah,
it's just. I think it's one of those things where you just there's no answer to it. Like it's kind of hard for us to find an answer to that, and it's more just odd experiences and things that can happen, and alternate dimensions and changing of that. It's more of a fun topic than anything. It's just fun to think about.
It is, yeah.
And yeah, I
would love to see a movie about this. I think it'd be pretty cool. Like little Christopher Nolan movie maybe on dimensions.
Alternate dimensions.
Yeah.
He's working on a movie right now, I think.
Is he?
Mm-hmm. Not about dimensions or anything, but he is a movie.
Nice.
That's the movie news of the week.
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan he's doing a movie.
No way.
But I don't know. I'm trying to figure out where I land on whether or not I believe it's something that actually happens or it's real, and I
like shifts.
Because it's just from my experiences, like I'd probably be more lenient towards there definitely being like a shift in things and a guidance to things, but it's like it gets on a level or a line of possibility, and then you can kind of get lost in that rabbit hole of just, okay, but what if I did this? What if I did this? What if I did this? And the bigger you go, the more you're like, this could completely change.
Right.
Like if 9/11 didn't happen, if AFK didn't get shot, if Trump did get assassinated, if like what would happen? What would the shift be? And it's a dangerous path.
I think it is.
It's a dangerous path.
And I think that I don't think that we should have I don't think we should have regrets in life. Like I don't think that we should constantly be looking back and being like, oh man, why I wish I did this and I wish I didn't do that. Like what happened, and like you can't change that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you shouldn't dwell on that, but it is important to like learn from your mistakes and like be like, okay, I mean, I shouldn't have done that. I should have done it this way, or that was good. I'm gonna do that again.
Like if I had a chance to redo it, earlier today, I would have looked before I put my hand on your lap.
Yeah, and see, but now you can learn from that. Next time you put your hand near my crotch, maybe. I don't know, just look.
Look directly at your crotch or in the area?
I mean, in the vicinity.
Okay. Vicinity.
Not a big vicinity, but,
It's average.
It's an average vicinity.
I got an average vicinity as well, so I get it.
Yeah.
It happens.
Anyways.
Happens to the worst of us.
Happens to the worst of us.
Little side topic.
It's kind of funny.
Little side topic.
Okay.
When you think about average, it depends on where you are.
Yeah, it's relative.
So, like, if we go to Japan, the average there is a lot different than the average here.
Right. You're saying we should move to Japan?
We wouldn't be average.
Yeah.
If we're average here, we wouldn't be average there.
Yeah.
And that's it, folks. Now you know me and Trent are average. Whatever that means.
I think I think it was a dimensional shift.
Or we could be lying. We could be below average, above average, in the middle, which would just be average.
You think you're on the
spectrum,
higher side or lower side of average?
I don't want to.
You think you're right dead in the middle?
I don't.
What are we talking about?
I don't
even know what we're talking about.
Average.
Average.
I think I'd say it's about average.
About average, yeah.
I averaged that.
I averaged out that. It's about average. So.
I think there's a dimension out there where that's all we talk about is the average.
Just the average of everything.
We're like, hey, welcome back to Average Complexity, and today we'll be talking about. See, that's just like
last time we did. Yeah. Last time we did dimensions.
We kind of got into the whole
croissants.
thing. Yeah, we went back into that whole little rabbit hole, didn't we? I don't know. I don't know if I think when we talked about multiverses, that's what we were talking about, like God and the multiverse. I think is that concept.
Yeah,
we didn't talk about like dimensional things. I'm trying to think that we shot that so long ago.
We did, yeah.
I don't think we talked about we did talk about like alternate dimensions. I think to an extent, but I don't think we.
Well, and then we also brought up the idea of like in the scientific world of like there being like length, width, and height, like 3 dimensions. And then like what would a 4th dimension be like? I've actually kind of been doing some thinking about that since we last since we shot that episode.
A little update on multiverse topic.
Well, not multiverse, but like dimensions. So like it's because I was reading a book about it. So like if you were a 2-dimensional being, you existed in 2 dimensions, you would see things in one dimension. So like you know how whenever you look at somebody and like if I'm just looking at like your profile like this, if I didn't understand depth, it would just look like it was flat, like 2 dimensions. You know what I mean? But since I understand depth, I know that there's more to you other than just what I see right now.
Right.
But so it's the same way if if we existed in 2 dimensions, and like let's say I was a square and I existed in 2 dimensions and I could see things. If I saw another square, I would just see a line. You know what I mean? But as the square turned around, I would see like a corner and like a line. So like so what would so that by that logic that means a 4-dimensional being. So if something existed in 4 dimensions, then they would be able to see a 3-dimensional object the entirety of a 3-dimensional object all at the same time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like in the same way we can see all sides of a square at all times.
Right.
So I just think that's kind of fascinating to think about. And like, yeah. I don't know if that makes sense.
I think like trying to think about what a 4th dimension would look like. I think looking at it with the perspective of how we see things.
Yeah.
Like to me, my intelligence, like my brain, is the 4th dimension. So like I see my right, my left in front of me. And so where my eyes are seeing, that is like the 4th dimension. So like if say, so God would be seeing through the 4th dimension. So like what is looking onto us? Because if you think about it,
I
when you think about like a concept of a camera or a movie, like you are in the 4th dimension watching that thing.
But we still perceive it in 3 dimensions, Like we can't even comprehend what it would be like to perceive all sides of a 3-dimensional object at the same time,
I guess I don't.
Well, all right. Think about it this way.
If you were looking at it down from heaven, are you seeing in a 4th dimension?
In our eyes, yes, but no. In our eyes, no. But in God's eyes, maybe. Yes, he probably does.
I would assume he would.
God sees all things at all times, so yeah.
God sees into like the 7th dimension.
Yeah. No, yeah. You're right.
Infinite dimension glitch.
Yeah, infinite dimension. But well, think about it this way. So like,
stupid.
How many times can you join something in a right angle? So like, let's say you have 2 pencils, and you put them at a right angle to each other, and you grab a 3rd pencil, and you put that 3rd pencil at a right angle to the other 2 pencils. You can do that, right?
Yeah.
But if you try to do it a 4th time, you can't put that pencil at a right angle to all 3 pencils at the same time.
This is already my brain.
Yeah. It's interesting though.
Science. Just like that. I don't know.
But anyways, that's just kind of something that I've been thinking about since we did this last.
It's just whenever I try to think about dimensions like that and shit, it just hurts my brain.
But it's so cool to think about.
Is it?
Yes.
Can we go back to making up different dimensions?
Yeah. Do you think there's a dimension that...
What do you got?
Do you think there's a dimension that we're just like oil paintings and...
We're looking onto people?
Yeah, and then paintings are like actual like people, it's like not oil paintings, but it's like how we see things,
So like,
it's like reversed.
So like the paintings are the world.
Yeah.
And
we're the painting.
The world is just the painting?
Mm-hmm.
How does it?
I don't know. But I thought of it, so that means it exists.
We don't have the full concept of it. You just thought
No,
of it.
I'm saying like...
So you're saying...
It's like, so if you look at a painting, it's like, oh yeah, it's a painting. But it's like, what if it was reversed, To where we're the painting and the painting is what we look like.
Okay, but if it's... So like this painting over here.
Yeah, this is what
we're looking at a painting of daisies. So you're saying that is a world.
Yeah.
And that painting is looking into us right now.
Yeah, and it thinks we're painting.
And it thinks we're a painting.
Yeah.
So like there are multiple paintings in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying there are multiple worlds inside of that world?
Infinite multiverse.
Which means that that's infinite worlds inside of that world. Of paintings, seeing paintings, of seeing paintings, of seeing paintings, and there's a painting, seeing a painting. If you take 2 paintings and you face them to each other, what happens?
It'll cause an explosion.
just
Let's
explodes.
try that.
Yeah, you gotta be really careful.
It's like it'll open up a black hole is what'll happen actually.
Just a black
It's like
hole.
when you look into a mirror with a mirror behind you. You know.
So you think that's how black holes happen in space?
Yeah.
Someone just got two paintings and they held it together.
Yeah.
And that would explain it. There you go, NASA.
There you go.
We figured it out. Don't put two paintings together.
You think we can get Neil deGrasse Tyson on this podcast?
I would love to talk to Neil deGrasse Tyson soon.
Yeah.
So, Mr. deGrasse, you are welcome to come onto the show and talk to us about deGrasse.
In different dimensions. The grass in different dimensions.
What's deGrasse like in your dimension, Mr. deGrasse Tyson? Is his last name Tyson? Mr.
Neil
Tyson.
deGrasse. Yeah, it is Tyson.
What's deGrasse like?
You think?
I just imagine like a nightmare blunt rotation. And that's what you ask him. You say, Mr. Tyson, how's deGrasse?
Is the grass really always greener on your side of the fence?
Is the grass always greener on your side, Mr. deGrasse Tyson? Is that his middle name?
I guess so.
Why would you
Neil
put your middle name?
deGrasse.
Like if I put my middle, like if I just put my full name as my YouTube account,
Yeah.
just Grayson Scott off, that's on my YouTube.
Yeah.
Like you might as well just put your social security number
Yeah,
up there
might
as
as
well.
And your,
Because-
bank information, like everything.
Yeah, I mean mine's up there. You can find it right now.
Yeah.
Actually. So as we're nearing the last 5 minutes of whatever this episode was,
I think it was fun though. It was a fun episode.
it was a fun episode. Also, me and Trent were going to shoot an episode with a guest today, and the guest got very ill because he ate some food that was bad. Hopefully, we can on the next episode have him on. We did have a topic today, and I came up with the topic about 30 minutes before we shot this. So, this one was a little loosey goosey, but of course, we have multiple topics planned. We'll talk about multiple things. Again, but I was just thinking about Trump and him winning the election, and I was thinking about his assassination attempt.
Yeah,
I thought it'd be really interesting to just goof around and think about alternate dimensions and different things like that. But if you guys have something you want to share, you want to think about when it comes to alternate dimensions, tell us. Comment down below. Like we said, we read a comment today. We're gonna read one next time, and the one after that. No one comments on these, so you have a higher chance of being read if you comment on the video. So if you want to be in this episode or in the show in some shape or form, leave a comment. Tell us what you think.
Do it.
Because we want to know, and it's interesting. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Grayson, I think we've really grown a lot closer as friends in this episode. I mean, we've had a lot of intimate moments. Yeah.
We really did.
Like, the time whenever you reached your hand over and, you... Well, anyways, you all saw it.
I don't know if they did.
You think the camera's
I'm going to completely edit it out, and you're just going to keep referring to it, and they're going to be like, what are they talking about?
What are they talking about?
When did this happen? It did. I'm leaving it in. It's going to be in there. I'm going to do a little zoom in, too. You're going to
zoom in on my vicinity?
I'm going to zoom in on your vicinity.
My average vicinity?
Yeah. Even there's a dimension where you have a below average vicinity.
Yeah, you're right. I'm lucky. I'm lucky.
You're like your prime Trent and not low vicinity. Trent.
Anyways,
they call him Trent, but here we call him Trunk here. Trunk.
Well,
did you get it?
No, I get it.
Because the trunk,
I get it.
Like an elephant trunk?
Yeah, no, I get it.
I'm crying. That one got me.
I get it.
This episode is all over the place, and I'm really sorry.
I hope you enjoyed it, though. I hope you had fun.
I had a good time, honestly.
I bet you did have a good time.
We still have to burn 3 minutes.
Do we?
Yep.
Do you think we should just put ourselves out of our misery?
What do you mean put ourselves out of our misery?
Like, just end it 3 minutes early?
I think that there are people listening to it right now, and they're like, this is elegant, and I love this.
Yeah. I'm sure there are.
I think there are people out there who really enjoy it.
I'm sure there are. I think there are, and,
That's good. I'm glad.
I think that this was a fun episode, and it was...
Yeah?
We, had some funny moments. And...
All right, well, let's think of some more dimensions while we wait.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
There's a dimension where you didn't mess up the mic last episode.
Yeah. But that probably means I messed up something else.
Yeah. You had your dick out the whole time.
Probably.
It's a bad episode. It got taken down. Couldn't be up anymore.
Got banned on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then we
You completely
spent the rest
show.
of our lives in jail because you were guilty by association. No.
What?
You were in this with me.
I mean, I didn't say anything about it. I just let it hang out.
And yeah, you're the one that posted the video. So
I guess
think
you're right.
We're both going to be in jail, and we start a gang.
Yeah. So there's Gang Trent and Gang Grayson and somewhere out there.
What do you think we'd look like? Do you think we'd like
eye tattoos?
Yeah, like we'd have like
lip tattoos, teardrop.
I bring my lip down. And I go.
Yeah. I think we'd have dreads.
Yeah,
both of us.
Probably. That would.
Cornrows.
Yeah.
There's a dimension where we have cornrows. Can you imagine that? I want to make a movie now where me and you have cornrows and tattoos and we walk around doing things.
We walk around doing things.
just random things.
Like not even like nefarious things, just like
daily average
just like
things.
going to the grocery store.
And a car wash.
Yeah.
And I feel like we wouldn't even listen to like rap music or anything like gangster.
Like maybe like classical music.
Yeah. It wouldn't it'd be like grocery store hits.
Yeah.
Is what we'd love. I think.
You know, I used to work at Market Street and I know all about grocery store hits.
Yeah.
And you did too.
I worked there for 4 years.
Yeah.
I worked in a grocery store and I wish I was in the dimension where I didn't do that.
Yeah. You think it would have been better if you're in the dimension that you had cornrows and you worked in the grocery store?
I think I would have been a lot cooler.
Yeah.
I think that's the takeaway of this episode is that if you're a loser here in this dimension, like we all are, at least there's a dimension where you have cornrows.
And you work in a grocery store.
You work at a grocery store and you're really cool and hip.
Yep.
Theoretically, of course. Well, with that, thank you guys so much for watching Cosmic Complexity and listening along with us. And leave a comment down below. And thank you for using that little brain of yours to further look into the alternate dimensions and the complexities of the world, and listening to me and Trent yap about dimensions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're going to be talking about dimensions ever again.
No. We're putting it to rest.
We might. Who knows?
In this dimension, we're putting it.
We might revisit it.
But maybe there'll be a shift and we'll bring it back up.
Yeah. I think down the line we'll probably have episodes where we talk about multiple topics and it's just kind of like a hodgepodge episode. Yeah. I think that'd be fun. But
that would be fun. Kind
of like revisiting old topics and seeing what we think about it. Because obviously we're going to change our perspective as we grow up. So, yeah. With that, I'm going to leave you guys with a little bonus impression for sticking around for so long. Last week I did bumper cars. This one is Trent being attacked by a predator. Trent.
What kind of a predator?
Not a child one.
Okay, good. I got a word for a second there.
I'm talking about the Predator.
Oh, like from the movie?
Yes.
The Predator?
So I'll be the Predator.
Okay. Do I have a role in this?
Yeah, I'm attacking you.
I thought you said you were going to do an impression of me being attacked by a predator.
No, I am the Predator. You are being attacked right now.
Oh my gosh, it's the Predator. Not like the child kind, but like the movie kind. Like from the movie The Predator. He's attacking me. Oh no. Oh no. I'm dead.
Yep, that was it. With that, have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Are you going to do a piece? You did a piece last time. You did.
Oh yeah, I did. Peace.
Bye.